The purpose of this video is to introduce the tree identification activity that we'll be working on. For this particular activity, the objective is for students to identify 3 different native species of trees. They have to describe the tree. They will be using different programs and apps to present them to the class. Once they're all finished with that, they will go to Google Docs, and these presentations will be shared with other class members. The required technology for this project will be any mobile device such as an iPad, an iPod in some instances, but the iPod won't always be applicable, or an iPhone. The main apps that we'll be using for this activity will be tree identification apps, the first one being LeafSnap, which is a free download, Audubon, and then we will use those two to identify the trees positively. We will then mark our location if the trees were identified using Google Earth, and either explain everything or PowerPoint will be used by the students in order to generate a presentation. At that point, once the presentation is generated in PowerPoint, it will be uploaded to Google Docs. The reason I feel as if this is a meaningful activity is that it gets students out actively engaged in their environment. It's a hands-on activity that really does have some real-world applications. I encourage students to find trees that they're familiar with, a tree in your backyard, a tree around the school, anything that you would see on a regular basis, so you can observe it over the course of the year and watch the leaves change colors and the spring blooms and blossoms, so that way they are more familiar with our native species of trees in Pennsylvania. The first app that we'll be using is LeafSnap. What you see here would be your home page. There are various collections, and you would select that option there for collections of trees and leaves that you've already collected. The next one would be Browse, and you would click here to go to Browse, and that'll be our next slide. From the Browse menu, it allows you to search trees. So if you have an idea, you say it might be a maple tree, you can either search by the first name, which you would see here, the last name, or even the scientific name, which is up here. This is an easy way just to give you a rough idea as far as what you think that what kind of tree you think you're looking at. If you were to click on the icon at the bottom here under collection, these are a list of species that I personally have already collected and positively identified using the LeafSnap app. So it does keep an inventory. Next, we'll be using Google Earth to pinpoint the specific location of the species that you're trying to identify. Here's an image from Google Earth of our high school, and there is a dot right there marking my spot on the iPad in the high school, and I'll be going out around the high school and starting. There's a tree that is located right here that you currently can't see, and I will be trying to identify that species of tree. Once you've found a leaf that you want to identify, you will go into the Snap It option, which is on the bottom right corner of the home page, and this is the screen that pulls up. You'll take the leaf, and as the directions indicate, you put it on a white background. It will take an image of the leaf after you hit Snap It here, and it will upload it through the network, and it will try to identify the tree for you. Now, at this point, you'll have a list of options, and it'll be your job to go through those options in order to identify the species of tree. After you've used LeafSnap and you have a rough idea, or at least narrowed the options of trees down, you're going to go into Audubon Guides, and in Audubon Guides we are going to obviously select the tree selection. Once you click on the tree selection, this screen comes up, and you can gives you the options to browse by shape, family, name, and under the name tab here you can put that in the name of the suggestions that LeafSnap gave you, and you can cross-reference and see. But what we're going to do is we are going to go to the search option down here. We're going to pull up what is basically referred to as a dichotomous key. After we go into the search menu, you'll have a drop-down menus of all of the different options here based on the trees. See down here, this one's collapsed. So you'd have fruits and fruit colors, the leaf arrangement, and up here I have expanded this section of leaves, and what you'll do is you'll go down and you will find your leaf structure, and you'll just simply mark that off. And as you go through this menu and scroll down, clicking on each individual section, you fill out as much information as possible, and then at the end there'll be a search button. Click search and it will give you a list of trees to cross-reference. Now this is something you'll have to demonstrate to the class when you do your final presentation, is your knowledge and understanding of what each category means. And so you'll actually display the leaf or the branch of the tree, if you will, and discuss why you selected these options to identify the tree. Now that we've identified the trees, you're going to go into PowerPoint and set up some PowerPoint presentation similar to this. In the high school's network drive, in my shortest folder, you will find a template for this project. It's going to be called Tree ID. It's a PowerPoint, and when you open it up, the PowerPoint that you're seeing now will be in front of you. This is the directions slide, but we've gone through all this already, so it should be nothing new. The third slide that you come to will have, you're going to fill in the tree name up here and start going through and just filling in each of these sections so that we have a positive identification of the tree, and this will continue on the next slide. Here's the continued slide. There are 15 sections between this slide and the previous slide that you'll have to identify. It's a point apiece. I would recommend just copying and pasting those slides into the next slide, so that way you have a template, if you will, and you just fill in the blanks. It should be nice and simple for you. The final step of this project is to present your trees to the class and upload them to Google Drive. On Google Drive, you have a list of your files, which you will see here, and this is a way that we can share files from one student to another, so that way everyone can apply each of our hard work to positively identify trees that are native to Pennsylvania.